Quite the spectacular setting, and it is a brand new car in front of one of the most imposing facades that you can find in India. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Car and Bike Show. I'm Siddharth Vinayak Parthankar with the new S-Class at the FALAKNUMA Palace in Hyderabad. Now, the car kind of fits the palace setting, doesn't it? Or maybe it's the other way around. The palace kind of goes with this car because it is the epitome of luxury and pretty much what anybody who has arrived in life wants to show up in at the portico. Now, in front you get to see the updated face because this is the facelift. It came out just a little while ago globally and it's come to India in pretty quick time, I have to say, compared to some of the other facelifts. Now, of course, we featured the car for you on the program before, but this is now the India spec. So you do get the new updated face with a more imposing grille, a bigger headlamp unit with the 3 LED element, and overall the car certainly tends to look a lot bigger and more imposing than it did before. With the new updated 2018 Mercedes-Benz S-Class, you get more than just a facelift. What you get is an actually improved version of an already excellent car. The Mercedes-Benz has always called this the best car in the world. Not surprising given the fact that it is its flagship sedan. Now, in India we've always got the long wheelbase, so that tradition continues. This is the stretched version. At the back, the styling is slightly updated to go with the facelift, but it's this badging. Now, we've had a 350D before in our market, but a couple of things there to consider. First, the S-Class in India, 90% of S-Class sales have been diesel, continue to be diesel, and so diesel not going away in a hurry, at least for this segment. And with that comes the little perception boost that the brand gets because it was the first one to talk about BS6. It was the first one to bring us a BS6 car, and the new S-Class diesel is BS6. I cannot understand why there is no button to electrically shut the boot lid, considering even the E-Class has one. You can bring me to a royal palace and you can give me a car that's fit for a king, but you know what? I'm still me and I'm still going to first drive, though I promise to check out the back seat too. The massive 5,255mm long car moves with the agility of something much smaller. It accelerates fairly instantly, downshifts quick, and can surge ahead without so much as a flinch. Now, a couple of things straight off the bat. The first is that the car comes in now with a lot more of those driver aids, semi-autonomous features than it did before, and that's because while the previous car globally had some of it, a lot of it wasn't sort of enabled for India, and now it is. So you get a lot of that electronics on this car, which is great. But remember, most of the buyers, why most, in fact I think I can even go out on a limb and say all the buyers, aren't going to be sitting up here, so they don't really actively get to experience a lot of that. Their chauffeurs will. Speaking of chauffeurs, when you see an S-Class coming down the road, you expect a chauffeur to be driving it. So I picked this nice bright blue jacket today just to make sure that nobody mistakes me for one. But alright, jokes apart, it is a chauffeur-driven car, and which is why a lot of the goodies are of course saved for the back seat as well.
Well, hello, it's good to see you. Won't you tell me how you've been? I've been away.
Triple-digit speeds were achieved with not even a whisper. And no, I did not venture close to the 250 km/h top speed on the roads around Hyderabad, where I am driving this beast. That top speed, by the way, is electronically limited, and it's the same on the petrol, which I drove later. Now it is an S-Class, so it's the flagship product, so you can expect or pretty much assume powerful engines. And so for starters, we're getting the S350D, which is the diesel, and that's the car I'm driving right now, and the S450 as well, the petrol. Now, big 6-cylinder engines, lots of power, lots of torque. I mean, this one has 600 Nm of peak torque. So again, like I said, that kind of goes with the territory. But what's really nice is that over the years, even though you've always had powerful, large sedans, it's just how nimble and fleet-footed these sedans have gotten. And it's not just about straight line acceleration, it's also about being able to corner at higher speeds, the handling, the fact that the tail of the car doesn't hang out, and the fact that you don't get a sense of this massive bulk. I mean, this is the long wheelbase, don't forget. I think it's with each generation or each update, the improvements that you see on that front, that's the part that gets me going.
The engine is more powerful but still emits lesser harmful gases. That is because it uses AdBlue, that's a urea-based diesel exhaust fluid that's released in an aqueous form into the tailpipe. The urea then vaporizes and helps break down the nitrous oxides in the emissions to water and nitrogen, both harmless of course. This helps the car to meet much tighter overall emissions than seen before, and yes, makes the cut to BS6, and it will work with BS4 fuel. It's a 25-litre AdBlue tank that will only need to be topped up about once a year, and your service would take care of it.
Now typically Mercedes puts out anything new and exciting on the S-Class first, but the speed with which it's getting to the other cars, and where you don't necessarily have to wait for a new generation, but even an update that brings it to the rest of the portfolio.
Like I said, I also drove the petrol, which looks identical, but the S450 will definitely seem a tad quicker, and the petrol V6 does give you that little bit extra with 362 bhp of maximum power. You also get those semi-autonomous functions that work to assist the driver and enhance safety. And we got a demo of sorts too from Mercedes-Benz instructors. The car's onboard radars improve its lane keeping, blind spot detecting and collision avoiding abilities. It also has autonomous emergency braking and steering as a part of that Distronic function, which works in conjunction with its adaptive cruise control. In the event that the car senses an inevitable crash, it also deploys an array of functions that will assist better preparedness for an impending accident for the passengers on board.
Now these little touch pads that you have over here, these little black squares, I really like the way they work, because what it does is the left one, it allows you to, well, almost like a mouse, move around the screen, that screen. And so I'm going to go in, I've got Apple CarPlay plugged in right now, and start playing the song. Well,
and eyes for interesting ideas.
Alright, so that's one, and the one on this side helps you manipulate things on this screen. So if there's a message that pops up, you want to say okay, you want to go from, well, the tachometer to the other display, you can do that over here as well using this touchpad. So it's a really cool feature to have, and you don't really have to take your eyes off the road for it, which is what makes it nice. So a touch of a button lets you manipulate the sunroof, the blinds, and it's all really comfortable back here. It is the long wheelbase, you already have a lot of space, but if that's not enough for you, like the previous S-Class of course, this one also lets you recline the seat. And if that's also not enough for you, well, then you can push this button and the front passenger seat, only when there's no one sitting on it, will just start to fold itself forward and just opens up this cavernous amount of space back here. And what it also does then is, well, it continues to travel forward, so it's continuing to give me a lot of space back here. And what it also then does is that it lifts up the leg rest on my seat and gives me a little bit of a footrest on the back of that seat that's going forward. Here it comes. Yeah, you got to take your time with this. but it's worth it. Alright, comfortable? Oh yeah, it certainly is. You can recline back, you can turn on the massage function. There is a hot massage as well that this car seat will give you, and everything else is great. Open pore wood, lots of leather, and I even like the little touch with these cup holders. You push them in, you use them, but you know, it kind of looks a little tacky when you've got them just as two big holes here. There you go. So all you need to do when you don't want to use them as cup holders is just that, and this just glides upwards, all really elegantly and beautifully done. So definitely works quite well. Now you control everything on the screen in front using these remotes. There are two different remotes for the two rear passengers. So you look at the one on the left, like I said, access massage, the navigation system, anything you want to know about the car, change the ambient light to a gazillion colors, and while you're at it, the wireless charging lets you charge your phone, assuming your phone is also good for it.
All that Napa leather and exclusive paint which holds in that prowess will cost you 1,33 lakh rupees for the S350D and 1,37 lakh rupees for the S450. The S-Class remains quite the benchmark, and it will be interesting to see what happens when the all-new tech-loaded Audi A8 drives in later this year.
Triumph's most popular adventure motorcycle, the Tiger 800, gets updated for 2018. The beaky front-end bug-eyed headlamps look familiar, but they are now LED, and there's also a strip of LED daytime running lights across. It also gets new colors, new graphics, and it looks sharper than ever before. But is it just a mildly updated Triumph Tiger 800? Or is there more to it than just updated styling and features?
The Triumph Tiger 800 is one of the largest selling adventure bikes in India, and for 2018, Triumph has completely updated both the road-oriented Tiger 800 XR variants and the off-road oriented Tiger 800 XC series. And now Triumph says there are as many as 200 new changes in these bikes, and we're in Morocco to see how different the all-new 2018 Tiger 800 is.
Like the outgoing model, the new 2018 Tiger 800 is available in two broad ranges: the road-oriented XR range and the more off-road inclined XC range, with as many as 6 variants on offer. The mid-spec and top-spec variants get a whole lot more equipment and features, like the full-color TFT instrument panel with several different themes and styles to choose from. And the range-topping XCA gets as many as 6 riding modes, including a new off-road Pro mode. The top-spec variants also get new backlit switchgear and Brembo brakes. And also new are heated grips, heated seat and cruise control.
The new Tiger 800 retains the same silhouette, same dimensions, but cosmetically there are a few changes. For starters, all new paint, all new graphics. These have been redesigned, new colors. Windscreen now is adjustable. You can adjust it. And there is what I call these aero deflectors. They have been made to better suit aerodynamics on a new Tiger.
The Atlas Mountains in Northern Africa is the perfect testing ground for a bike like the Triumph Tiger. We spent the first day on tarmac, riding both the range-topping XRT and XCA variants. The Tiger's road manners remain the same as the current model, but what has definitely changed is the sound of the engine. The trademark whistling sound of the 3-cylinder engine is muted, and now the sound is meatier and bassier than before.
The engine is the same 800cc inline triple as the outgoing model, but there are some changes inside. The primary drive gear has changed, the counterbalancer gear has changed, the clutch has changed, and the exhaust is more compact and shorter than before. The result, this one feels throatier, punchier and sounds a lot better than the outgoing model. Now Triumph says they don't have any acceleration figures to compare how different the characteristics of the two engines are, but this one definitely feels more smooth, more refined and more eager to go.
Once you get off the tarmac, the Tiger 800 really comes into its element. For experienced riders, the Off-Road Pro allows some wheel slip, and you can keep the ABS engaged on the front wheel for added control. The Triumph approved off-road Pirelli Scorpion Rally tires offer superb grip even in the most challenging terrain, and they certainly make a world of difference when riding off-road. In India, the 2018 Triumph Tiger 800 will be launched sometime in April, and with the updates, it's bound to be a little more expensive than the current model, maybe by 40 or 50,000 rupees variant to variant. It still remains to be seen how the new Tiger stacks up against the competition, but one thing's for sure, Triumph certainly made the Tiger 800 a lot better, and it definitely makes a compelling case even if you're just thinking of upgrading from the existing model.
Of the many 125cc scooters suddenly flooding the market, the Aprilia SR125 is easily the sportiest. The SR125 is the younger sibling to the much-acclaimed Aprilia SR150 and promises to offer similar fun, though with a smaller engine and lower price tags.
The Aprilia SR150 came around 2 years ago and it revolutionized the premium scooter market in India. Well, until Aprilia got one, we really didn't have a sporty scooter, and now that it's here, it's created a niche for itself. But the volumes game is in the 100 and 125cc segment, and that's what Aprilia is now aiming for. And that's why we have the new SR125. Well, it's based on the SR150 with the same body and the same packaging, but with a smaller engine, this fantastic blue color and a more affordable price tag.
The SR150 looks stunning with its sharp Italian design, and we are glad that the Aprilia has offered the same on the SR125 as well. The baby SR uses the same fiber body as its older sibling, and save for the badging, there is less that changes on the 125cc model. You get the same sharply designed front apron with the twin headlamp design that now gets the auto headlamp on function as standard. The razor sharp side panels meet at the tail light. We love the exposed engine on the SR150 and are glad to see that on the SR125 as well. Aprilia has also carried over the massive 14-inch alloy wheels, which are the largest in the segment. However, since the SR125 is cheaper, there is evidence of cost cutting. The scooter misses out on the split grab rails from the SR150, and a single piece unit is offered instead as optional. The dual-tone finish seat too has been replaced with an all-black unit, but the analog instrument console has been carried over with no changes. That looks boring when compared to digital consoles seen on other 125cc scooters. Apart from the candy blue shade, Aprilia is also offering metallic silver. Both the Aprilia scooters don't get a USB socket, a big miss in today's day and age. But the SR125 makes up for it as you get going. The suspension setup has been carried over without any changes from the SR150 to the SR125. The stiff setup is not ideal for our pothole-infested roads, but a flat tarmac promises equal amount of fun. It shares its powertrain with the VESPA scooters and so uses the familiar 124cc single-cylinder engine tuned for 9.4 brake horsepower and 9.9 Nm of peak torque.
The SR125 shares its engine with the Vespa 125, and it's a 124cc single-cylinder motor that makes 9.4 bhp and 8.2 Nm of torque. Now this engine has been tuned slightly differently on the SR to meet the sporty nature of the scooter and is a little more aggressive than the Vespa. That being said, I do think that the initial acceleration is slightly disappointing than what I would have liked. But let the speeds build up, and the true power is in the mid-range and the top end. You know, the scooter really shines there, and there's ample of grunt through 60 kilometers per hour and beyond.
The lack in the initial grunt can be attributed to the CVT calibration with the engine, and we do miss the urgency that the SR150 offers. Nevertheless, the SR125 is still miles ahead in its performance over its closest 125cc rival. Straight line stability is brilliant and comes courtesy of the alloy wheels and a well-tuned chassis. Aprilia claims that the SR125 returns about 40 to 45 kilometers to a litre, which is an improvement of about 5 kilometers per litre over the SR150. The riding position is slightly aggressive but goes with the superb handling dynamics of the scooter. The SR125 is easy to flick around in the city and feels confident around a corner, especially the tighter bends. The slender frame also makes for a greater lean angle and is sure to keep hardcore enthusiasts happy. The brakes are sharp. The scooter is priced at 65,000 rupees, that's 4,000 rupees less than its 150cc sibling. But it is more expensive than the other 125cc scooters like the TVS N-Torque and Honda Grazia, which will be its chief rivals.